Hello humans and welcome to the Felix Ben Show. I am your host Felix and this is a brand new podcast experiment where I bring you in-depth conversations with the world's best Latin dance artists, teachers and innovators who have impacted the industry as we know it all around the world and who can hopefully impact your life and your experience right now by talking directly into your ear. This is episode 2 of the podcast with the legend, a 20-year veteran of the industry who with one word has defined a dance style, and that is Supermario. He's known as the Million Moves Man, and I might take a leap and say he might be one of the most liked people in the industry. I really connected with Supermario, share a lot of his ideas about training and connection and social dancing. He's uniquely genuine and honest, and someone I could see myself chatting to for hours. Now, a disclaimer, this was one of my first online interviews and we did have some sound challenges, so be prepared to be patient through a couple of glitches, but nevertheless we went into some super interesting directions. So now please enjoy this in-depth look into the life and ideas of Supermario.
Thank you again for chatting with me, and I think
no worries.
I'm really kind of excited to bring some of your experiences and ideas about social dancing out into the world. And so, most people I know, probably myself included, start dancing for girls. And I understand that you started dancing as a result of the end of a girl.
Yes, that was how it began, yes.
So tell us about that.
It was for the girls.
For the girls.
Of course, like most guys, I think 9 out of 10 people who start salsa guys probably come for the same reason, and I was no different. I did it for the same reason too.
Not many people admit that. Everyone says, "Oh no, I'm just here for the art."
Yeah, whatever. No, but I'm going to change my format now. So I started for that, but then what happened was I fell in love with the dance, and I just forgot about the other part.
Yeah.
And then I just enjoyed the dance form of it, and the woman part of it just disappeared from my life completely for the first 3-4 years at least.
Yeah.
So, and I loved going to the social scene. I was another 40 kilos bigger than I am right now. So when I used to go to a salsa party, nobody judged me for my size, my color, my weight, my height, nothing like that. So it was a very comfortable place for me to be in.
Yeah.
So I found a lot of stuff. Yeah.
How would you then describe your experience as a sort of typical dancer coming into the scene and then growing, as far as growing professionally, not speaking Spanish, not looking the way an average dancer looks? There probably weren't a lot of Indian artists back then when you started. And so what was your experience like developing this?
That's the beauty of this dance, because we don't have that kind of problem, Yes, at one time about 17 or 18 years ago in London, me and Leon Rose, you guys know him, right? Mm-hmm. We had these issues with the Latinos here. They were like, "Oh, you're not Latin, so you're not supposed to teach salsa," and but eventually those guys disappeared, And the beauty of it is like the acceptance, People accepted us for what we were good at. I was good at partner work. Leon was good at choreography, So he was black, I was Indian, and then the acceptance in the dance community was beautiful. So we felt very comfortable where we were, and we didn't have to work hard. We just showed people how much we enjoyed what we did, and that was what was visible for people, and they accepted us for the way we were, and not the size or color or whatever. To be quite honest, the size thing actually helped me when I was starting up, because if I was like a regular dancer doing what I was doing, I probably would not have picked up the visuals from people, you know what I'm saying? Because I was brown, big, tall, and creating all these moves, everybody was just getting attracted to this big Indian guy who was doing all these combinations, So it actually all helped me, and it all fell into. Was that?
It became your persona.
Almost, and that name, the super thing in front of Mario, actually helped me as well. So just the whole mold of the brand was just me, you know what I mean? So it was easy.
Where did Supermario come from? Were you self-proclaimed?
Oh, well, everywhere. No. Every Mario in the world has this nickname, Super Mario. I was 8 years or 9 years old in school when people started calling me Super Mario, because it was just the way the game became famous, And I just kept it. It just helped me. It helped me because of the size and the dance.
Yeah, and And so maybe just to give everybody a little bit of background as to how you became the Million Moves Man, and how your sort of, style and passion and social, a very unique social dancing approach was developed. How would you describe that? How did you, become this person? How did you get attracted to the partner work and the quality of the partner work? And, if I can take a minute to describe it, your partner work is known for being fluid, for being easy, for being, while super complex, being led in an easy and natural way. And you kind of took things away from the more sharper, faster, stronger kind of leads that were popular at the time. So how did that come about? Did you just naturally find yourself inclined towards, social dancing versus, other things? Or tell us about how that happened.
There's a lot of questions there. Okay, let me answer them as slowly as possible. Okay, first of all, let me answer the part where how did I start creating? So I had some wonderful teachers when I started. Really, really wonderful teachers. I'd like to say thank you to them because my first teacher was a lady called Eli Galvani. She doesn't teach anymore. My second teacher was a guy called Paul. I don't know his last name. And the third guy was a guy called Keith Harry. Now, Keith is the one that actually encouraged me, and him was, and I do this with my students now. So, for example, we were in a class and he would show us blah, 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 a sequence of moves, and we were dancing Cuban style before, and the moment he would turn his back or start teaching somebody, I would immediately turn that into 5 different variations, whatever he just taught us. So I was never the guy who was happy with what was shown to me, And then what happened was just 10 minutes before the class would end, Keith would actually say, okay, guys, and let's see what Mario has to show us, So he encouraged me to come in the middle, 8 months into my dancing, and show people that it's not just one way of doing things. There's many ways of doing the same thing, And that encouraged and opened my eyes as to how I could do one thing 7 different ways or 10 different ways. And I was never happy with what I was shown. I was always multiplying that into a million different ways. And at the same time in London, we had another guy called Leon Rose on another side of the world in London doing the same thing on the other side. And he was doing Cuban style also, so the same thing happened. And then about 2 years into our dancing, Salsa Brava, which was Luis Vasquez's group from Los Angeles, they came to London. And they were teaching a sequence of workshops here. We didn't go to it because we had no money. We couldn't afford it. So they were selling a cassette, video cassette. Mm-hmm. And my friend bought the cassette and he didn't want to watch it, so he gave it to me. That's the first time I saw LA Style on one. So we put a cassette in. I was like, oh, what the hell is this? Then I called Leon. Leon came to my house. Susana Montero came to my house, and we all ripped that DVD, the cassette apart, And then me and Leon just changed everything we know that we were doing in circles to straight lines.
Wow.
So 2 years and one day into our dancing, we already had like 50 million moves, because we had so many variations of things and we just converted everything, So Leon Rose was part of my journey as well. And we performed everything that we know into a straight line. And that's how the Million Moves Man nickname came about, because I already had a lot of moves at that time. I was never into performing. I guess it was because of the size. I never learned Rueda because I think you needed to learn Spanish for this. So I was a little ignorant in the beginning about things, And so when I didn't focus on choreography and stuff like that, I had more time to social dance. So everything I do, everything I create comes from the social dance floor. So that's why everything is leadable. I don't take anybody's stuff and recreate them or whatever. I want to be as original as possible always. So whenever I go out social dancing, for example, if I don't create something, like if I go out this weekend and I'm dancing in a festival, if I don't create something for myself, I feel very not satisfied. So that really creates a little stumble block ahead. So I'm always into the creating. I always want to come back home with something new to show my students here. These guys here, man, you got to see my students. They are 20 times hungry as I was when I was starting. So they always challenge me to come up with something new for them all the time, And it's all related to social dancing. So for me, for example, if I did something this weekend and I was able to create something, immediately I would try that on 30, 40 different girls to see if it works. If it works, it's a new move, and then I come back and teach it to the guys, and then we create things together. And it's just a process of fun, it's not nothing like, it's not a dedicated system. It's just satisfactory system. You know what I mean? It satisfies me to create something new, bring it back to my guys who are satisfied, and then we do some things together. And I do what Keith did to me. I let them go out and play and create. Yeah. So we have the system, here in a very nice way. All social, everything social.
And
so that's how the million moves and the fluidity and all that came across. And I've been dancing for 21 years now, and I still love social dancing like crazy. To the right music, though.
Of course. And look, that brings us to so many questions. So, let's start at the end there. What is the right music?
I'm a kind of guy. When I go to a party and everybody in the world knows it, I'm never standing and dancing with the dancers by the DJ box. I'm always at the back, dancing with people who I don't know, which creates a lot of challenges for me because I prefer dancing with people who cannot really dance very well. It's very stupid to say that, but it's a fact because there's an adventure between me and that person, and usually the music that helps us is romantic. I love salsa romantica, so I'm a big fan of salsa romantica. And when kind of music is played, it's easy to dance with people I don't know because it's not fast, it's not hard, it's not, it's just the speed of the music I like. So they're both connected. Me dancing with people I don't know and romantica salsa.
And what is it that you prefer about dancing with people you don't know than dancing with the other artists at the festival?
I never dance with artists. Never. But what I like, again, like I said, it's all about the adventure, not knowing. For example, I go to a party and I don't know this girl. I want to dance with her. Not knowing what she can and cannot do is what challenges me. Creating that dance, like starting with the bass and then seeing what she can do and what she cannot do and how she does it, blah, 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 blah. If she's overstyling, I need to know what to not do with her. If she's spinning really well, I want to know what I can and cannot do with her. I love that adventure between me and somebody new. You find me dancing by the stage, ever. It's an ongoing joke in Europe about that. So whenever they draw like map charts of artists, I'm always by the exit. Where all the shy people are, right? That's where I always am. So
yeah. And so maybe if we can just delve a little bit into, and this may be for my own personal interest, into the development of the material. How does your brain work? Do you come up with ideas, beforehand, and then you might try them out and something that you came up with in your head? Or does it happen on the fly as you're dancing and you're like, oh, shit, that might be a real thing. I might try that again. And how does it come out?
Always on the fly. Never prepare. I've never prepared a class in my life. Anything I create socially just comes out by itself. I just know I understood the dimensions of the technique easily. So I know at this particular point, with this particular hand, there's X amount of things I can do. On the other side, if I flip it over, there's X amount of things I can do. And it just comes out from there, And most of the time it's by mistake. A lot of the moves that I create, a lot of the moves that people use now socially are all by mistake. You will not even believe half the moves that you guys do right now, that you guys do. I'll show you how it was created. You guys will laugh. So it's just on the fly, everything on the fly. I never had anything in my mind before, after, during, nothing.
I'm imagining one of those, university lecture theaters where the guy's drawn up all this stuff all across the board with lines going everywhere. Is that, do you have like a system where it all fits together, where that you've got,
No.
6 exits out of this? Or do you sense it? And I guess the follow-up question to that is, how has your experience in becoming this, person with this unique approach, how is that translated to the way you teach and train other dancers? Because obviously not everybody has that ability to see the picture the way you see it. So how do you then translate that information to your students?
But right now, the kids I have in the last 2 years, I started something very interesting about 2 years ago. I'm always playing around. I'm always, I'm a mathematician, right? Okay, so statistics and logic has to make sense to me. I'm always talking to people why they do what they do, why they don't do what they do, why they don't like what they do. I'm always asking people things. So 2 years ago, I decided to do something, and I took a risk with this. I decided to stop allowing people filming my classes in my studio here in London. I just stopped them. So it was a brand new group of people, so I just started coaching them without any filming. Man, they are exactly where I am today. They can go out there and create their own thing, dance their own dance, think the way I think, do what they're doing, nothing. And it all comes down to repetition. I'm not afraid to repeat the same thing a million times, till something new comes out of me when I'm social dancing or when I'm teaching or whatever. And I think it's the repetition that creates the strength and the confidence of leading things. And when people are not worried about just repeating the same thing over and over again, then the multiplication of moves come into your system. So the guys I have right now in my dance group, they don't think any differently to the way I do. I just allow them to go do what they want. I know that they can come up with a million things themselves.
So, I think a lot of instructors would find that fascinating, because maybe you can talk about how you created a situation where they're still inspired and motivated and, eager to come to class and learn and repeat the same thing over and over again, when obviously the drive from a junior intermediate student is always for more material. It's always for breadth, not depth. So, how are you able to redirect them towards the depth and the quality?
They trust me. They trust the fact that, so for example, I started a new course yesterday. It was overpacked. I had to stop people from joining. And that's because they're seeing the product of my 2 years ago, the chance that I took, and they saw the product of these guys, like how good they're becoming right now. They're not filming. So these guys are believing in what I'm doing right now. And they're willing to take the chance where I could repeat things over and over again. And yes, the world is in a funny place right now. And I do kick out people occasionally from my class who come with the wrong intentions. Nobody's ever questioned the filming part, because everybody's told them, like, look, he doesn't do it, so let's not do it, And it's working. It's working. That's why I don't want to open a school for my actions to pay bills and, et cetera, et cetera. If I do it in a studio, I'm just renting a space and doing what I'm doing. I'm the boss, so I'm like, I don't need to pay bills. I just need to pay for the studio, and that's it. I'm done. So if I don't need anybody there, or people are there with the wrong attitude, I can easily tell them to leave, And if I tell them, I tell always any girl who comes to my class, I tell them, like, look, I'm going to make you a super good follower. If you're looking for styling and stuff like that, you're in the wrong place. I'm not into all that stuff. I can make you have a line of guys waiting for you to dance with, but I cannot make you look good. I can make you feel awesome. It's all about the feel. I'm all about the feel and the connection, not about the looks and the performance and all this kind of stuff. I'm completely opposite to what the whole world thinks, man. I'm sorry.
Which is fascinating, because yet you've been recognized, and there's obviously demand for what you do. So, I think perhaps what is another indication that what the world thinks is not always right. And, your ability to deliver a unique approach, a unique product is actually, desired, and still, after all these years, despite, the Instagram world, people are still very interested in what you do. So, and so what do you attribute the lack of filming? How do you attribute that, connect that to the development?
It takes out laziness straight away. Laziness is out of the question. People will come on time because they know they shouldn't miss the beginning. There's another way I teach also. I don't start with easy stuff and get to the hard part. I start with the hard part and make the routine easy. So they practice the hard part more. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I start my routines very hard. I repeat, and make that routine slowly towards the end of the class. So people know they shouldn't miss the beginning. So they'll be on time. Whatever the hell it is, they push themselves to be there on time. If there's a video, they know they can film it at the end. Laziness sets in. Second thing is, attention. I get their attention in class because they know that there's no filming at the end. If they don't pick it up now, it's not going to happen. So they're very attentive. And, for me, these two things are very important. I think the world just got lazy, in learning. When the brain is lazy, you can't force it to do things. So the attention and the laziness is taken out with the lack of the filming part. So now what I've started doing in festivals now, I always get to teach 4 classes every weekend. One of those classes, I promise the people that I will show them something new that they've never seen before. And I would tell them that there's no filming at the end of the class. And you know what? I told them, I said, what's beautiful about what I just told you is like I told you, me and Leon Rose, we used to do everything together. So we used to go to New York and take classes with editors for filming back in the day. So we used to come back to London, man. We used to practice this over and over. We remember all that man's classes still. After 22 years, we still remember the classes we took in New York. So I'm trying to develop that mental agility of people to be able to see things like that. So I told these people in festivals now, okay, this one routine, we're not going to film. And guess what? In the evenings, I see people standing and practicing and purposely trying to put it into your system because, they don't have it on their phones, so they're actually working at something. And 2 or 3 of them have come back to me. I've only started this 3 months ago. They come back to me and they said, Mario, we understand what you're trying to say right now. And I'm going to do that slowly everywhere. 1 of the 4 classes will be without filming.
Okay.
I want people to see the logic behind it.
That's a powerful learning tool.
You know what? Don't be scared. If you're going to do it. Just 1 class in a week, just make sure that they don't film. And you'll see the development already. Whatever it is that you're teaching them, they will be practicing that more than the other stuff.
And do you do shines in your classes as well, or do you just focus on partner work?
I don't particularly do shines. I teach them spins. I focus on solo spins a little bit. So I spend 10, 15 minutes. And by the way, my classes are not 1-hour classes. My classes are 2.5 hour, 3-hour classes.
Wow.
Every class I teach is 3 hour long. Yeah. So one group learns for 3 hours.
Wow.
So there's a little bit of that as well going on in there. A lot of spinning.
And so if we take it, to, when you go to a festival and you've been doing this for so long and you walk out into a room full of people, or in your own classes, which I know have a lot of people compared to an average class. How do you feel? How do you feel when you walk out and see a room full of people, there to learn the Supermario method?
In festivals it's not fair because I get an hour with a group of people. I can't really tell them everything I want to say, and it's not enough. I told you I don't like 1-hour classes, but at festivals I do get 1-hour classes only. So it's just showing them a piece of material. That's it, and they're happy with that. You know what I mean? People are very happy with little things now. But in London it's different because I know these guys have waited a whole week to come and learn something from me, and they're excited. They've been practicing, and I love the feeling, and it's two different feelings. In festivals, people are just anxious and waiting for God knows how long before they can actually come to this festival. They want to learn something from me or something from somebody else and go take it out dancing. The anxiousness is different. You know what I mean? But in terms of feeling, I feel good. I feel good that I get worried. I will be worried the day when I go to a class and there's 5 people waiting to take a class with me. That would worry me. But thankfully, that's not happening. Thanks to my other colleagues who are doing a beautiful job for me to be popular still. So.
And so, what's your opinion on the state of social dancing, around the world at the moment? Through, you're in a unique position where you've seen things almost from the sort of very early
beginning,
days,
yes,
almost from the beginning. Yeah. How do you see things now? What's the state of social dancing in your mind?
Bro, it's terrible right now. It's the worst I've ever seen. Something is changing a little bit in the last year or so, but me and Eddie Torres, we were talking about this not so long ago, maybe about 3 or 4 months ago, because he brought this beautiful dance for us into the world, the social dancing side of salsa. And yes, I believe fusion is great. But I think they've taken fusion to a different level where it's just, it's all about the look now. It's never about the feel and the connection anymore. I never understood this when Latinos were telling me this about 15 years ago, because we were all turn pattern orientated. And the Latinos back then were saying like, oh, you guys just know all this and bullshit, and you guys don't know how to feel the music. You guys don't know how to connect with your partner. Now I understand what they were saying back then. You know what I mean? Because we just felt holding each other and doing moves was the way of salsa. But now that's gone too. Now it's all solo now, you know, and I understood what they are saying, what people said back then now. So I understand it. But there's nothing you can change. That's how the world wants to be. It's all about the look. Everybody wants to look great. Nobody worries about the feel so much anymore, you know.
Mm.
And opinions are just, everybody has an opinion these days. Doesn't matter who it is. You post a video, you're bound to see 1 million negative comments and probably 5 positive comments, you know. And those 5 people are really into the social dancing side of things. The other 1 million are all into the looks, you know.
And so what do you think has changed from, if you were to refer to a time where, you know, people were enjoying themselves on the dance floor, were more connected genuinely to what they were doing, less concerned about how it's going to end up looking on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what do you think has driven the change? Do you know, obviously a lot of people would say the performance culture has sort of taken away the time and attention from what people are spending on the dance floor. What do you think it is? Is it social media? Is it, you know, performance culture? Is it something else?
It's a bit of both. The performance thing came first. I honestly feel the first change happened when lady styling came into the dance. Way back when we were dancing, women had style. People danced. They were beautiful dancers, like not Amneris Martinez, but there was another Amaryllis. There was a lot of dancers from New York, like Nancy Ortiz and all these guys. They danced with a lot of flavor. They all had a unique style, you know, but they were never called lady styling. So I think in 2003 or 2004, when specifically lady styling classes came into the scene, that's when women started getting a little distracted, and the connection was starting to lose back then. That was the initial thing that happened. Then the second change that happened was when Juan Matos came up with all his, you know, looking good suits and fancy shoes and hats and all that kind of stuff. That drove a little bit of separation between people. Then came all the rest. All this performance thing started after that. And it's got to such a stage right now, man. I'm telling you, people take like 5 classes and they want to be on stage. They don't know nothing. And it's just sad. It's really sad. And then social media now, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I just came back this weekend from a festival in Ukraine, and every woman who asked me to dance passed the phone to her friend before she could dance with me. Now, I actually told them in class on Sunday, I said, look, ladies, the reason this is not good is because I'm sure you guys want to, you know, blah, 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 whatever the reason is you guys are filming for. I said, well, what you're doing to that dance is you're forcing me to make you look good. I'm worried that if I do something wrong, it's going to upset your flow. You are worried how good you look on your camera. You're just completely disconnecting everything between you and me by just having that film. You know, I want our dance to be a memory. I want you to take it back as a memory or as something that you enjoyed doing with me. But instead, you guys have done the complete opposite and killed the whole thing, because I really feel stressed when people are filming me dancing with somebody. Because you understand what I'm saying, right?
Absolutely.
So they are just killing the vibe between 2 people. And if it wasn't through a lack of connection, now it's through the stupid cameras now, you know. Yeah. So in my parties in London, I have a party in London on Monday nights. Man, that's the darkest salsa party you've ever been to. Because you can't see shit on the phone. So people dance, you know.
Is that intentional?
Absolutely.
That's
absolutely
fantastic. I love that.
No, I want people to come and dance. I want them to understand if it's dark, there's something called connection. Learn how to connect in the dark, you know. And
that's, you know, one of the things we talk about here is, you know, sometimes guys will bring me a video of a social dance they've seen, and, you know, it's often Terry or something that looks, amazing. And one of the things I always remind, especially, the junior guys who are watching a lot of YouTube and driving their desires and their behaviors is, if you're watching that video and it looks really bright and it looks amazing and you can clearly see people, that means they're aware that there's a massive camera with a massive light on them. And
absolutely, yes.
They are no longer social dancing. They are now performing for you a little bit. A little bit, whether intentionally or not, obviously puts pressure regardless of, how amazing an artist you are.
Yes.
You're going to feel the pressure to provide a dance that looks good on YouTube. So,
bro, you absolutely nailed it there. And you know what? I'll tell you something else. Maybe you want to take this out of the discussion, okay? This is a confession I'm going to make. People fix this stuff. So they pick a partner, go to the DJ, pick a song, get the videographer, come out there, and they dance it to what they know.
Yeah.
And this is happening quite regularly right now. And you know what? That's why I love being at the back. Because no videographer wants to come there and film me dancing with beginners or intermediate students. And you will hardly see videos of me anywhere out there. So, yeah, you're absolutely right about what you just said. It is a performance right now.
And so, what I find difficult is, this is, I don't want to make this about me, but I'll just take the opportunity while I'm chatting with you is
sure
to redirect their attention and be like, look, that is amazing. And I know you want to look like that. And it's fantastic. Like, who doesn't love seeing that thing that you just saw? But it's out of context. You're watching a professional race car driver doing something crazy. There's not really going to be a time where you can drive like that for real.
Yeah.
So what would you say? How do you redirect the attention of young dancers who are coming up and getting so influenced by this as if that's the final outcome, when the final outcome should be, how does this feel? And sometimes what we do is we say, look at her face. Like, is she happy? She looks stressed.
Yes.
Man.
It's all about that lady in front of you. It's all about the lady. And what I do is, one guy came to me like a couple of months ago, 3 months ago. He came to me. He's like, "Oh, I want to dance like Terry." I'm like, "Oh, cool. I can make you Terry." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah. Quit your job. Come and practice 10 hours a day with me. Listen to music the whole day, because that's what that guy does. And then go out every weekend and dance at least 150 songs every night on a Friday, 150 on a Saturday, 150 on a Sunday. And then maybe 4 or 5 years later, you'll be like him." And that's it. End of story. No more conversation on that department anymore.
Yeah.
Terry did. I remember when he moved from Guadeloupe to Europe, he was in all our classes. He was in my class. He was in Leon's class. He was in Paris. He was dancing for a friend of mine called Mike, the guy from Euphoria Dance Company. He worked his ass off to be where he is, and he deserves to be where he is. He really worked. Quit his job as a policeman in the islands, came to Paris without any money, without any work. And he worked only in salsa. His focus was only to dance. People don't have that kind of time now.
No, it's that level of dedication is rare.
No, it's true. What you're saying is absolutely true. Everybody wants the end product without putting the work in between now and then,
And so, if you were in charge of salsa in the world, what would you be saying to students? What would you be, or maybe another way to think about it is, what would you direct people's attention to? What should they focus on? If we take a scenario of a normal, hobbyist who's come into class and trying to become as good a social dancer as they can be, what have you seen that's going to make the difference that if they were to focus on this or address their attention to it, they would come out to a good result?
I'm going to say that tonight to a bunch of new beginners who are going to come out here. It's a social dance. It's a dance where people go out to socialize. It's not for competition purposes. It's not for you becoming Terry or Fernando or Adolfo or whatever. If you do, I'm happy for you, but it's all about being able to go out there and express yourself in the dance. That's all it is, nothing else. If you want to express yourself being soloist, that's great also, but salsa is not for you because salsa is a partner dance. Editors, I remember, told us like the dance is 80% partner work, 20% shines. That's it. I believe in that because he's the man who came up with it. He's the man who brought it to us. If he said it, with somebody, the lady is the picture, you're the frame. I believe in that too. I still believe in all this old logic that people made. It makes a lot of sense. I still dance that same way. And when I take my students to festivals in Europe, the difference between, I'm not going to name who, the difference between my students and the rest of the world, my students think like this. If this guy, Supermario, can dance all night with everybody, and we just started 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 years ago, and this guy's been doing it for 20 years with so much of fun, I mean, how could we get tired or bored or whatever? You understand?
Mm.
So I'm their biggest representative of social dancing and fun and going out there and doing your thing with a lot of heart, And then we have people who don't even go out social dancing, and their students are going to do exactly that, which is not follow their teacher, And I believe in that very much. If you represent what you're teaching, your performance, or let it be competition dancing or whatever it is. So for me, it's all about, follow the leader.
And how do you think, you've maintained your passion and your interest in social dancing after so many years?
Bro, I just love dancing, man. I don't even know. Sometimes I question myself how this happens, really. Like I told you, there's a lot of things that people have told me all along my way. Like I told you about the picture where the editor said, that smile is very important. To keep that smile on the lady's face, or your smile, to keep her smile, is very important for me. Also, something else that somebody told me once was, dance because you want to, not because you have to. And that's a deep word right there, because sometimes I do feel tired. I just leave the party. I go to sleep. I don't have to do anything because people, because of that logic I had in my mind. I went out dancing because I wanted to dance, not because I have to dance.
Yeah. And part of what I think is happening with the social scene is there's the pressure, to be amazing and look like the next guy, because on your Facebook feed you are seeing this definition of social dancing. When you go out, you are seeing cameras on certain people, and so I think people are intimidated by the fact that they're not that person, that there's a very different definition of success. So
absolutely,
what do you say to those people who are feeling like they're questioning their place in this scene because they're still getting themselves together? How do they?
I just tell people, like, look, it's patience. Somebody came to me and they're like, "Can I become good in a year?" I'm like, "Bro, you can. Maybe you can't. You got to be honest." I tell I'm very honest with my students always. I tell them, like, look, there's a way to do things. You know what I'm saying? If you put the work, if you just come once a week to class, it's going to take you 25 years longer than somebody who went out to dance 4 times a week and takes classes 2 times a week. So it's the amount of time you put in is what you're going to get out of it. So if you just come to my class once a week, nothing's going to happen to you. You got to go out there, put it to practice, see what works, see what doesn't work, take what you like, put it into your syllabus of moves, go out there, dance it, practice with another 100 girls. And I'm always telling people to go out and practice. Always go out dancing. I get every student of mine in my classes, whether they are old or new, if they ever want to go to a festival, I always festivals, because that's where they get to judge themselves. Not in London. In London, you can't judge yourself because everybody knows how you dance already. So when you go to festivals, you can judge yourself and put yourself, okay, did I get better than the last festival? Did I get better than when I came here last year? Or you always got to evaluate yourself all the time. So I always give them discounts. I always get them discounts. So one phone call to somebody and I'll be like, look, 5 of my students are coming there. Can you get them a discount? That motivates them to go out there and test themselves and judge themselves. So I'm always telling people, like, look, if that camera is not on you, don't worry about it. Worry about the person in front of you, because she's going to go back and tell her friends what a good dance she had. That camera is not going to do anything for you. Nothing.
And so when was the last time you came to Australia?
I think I came to Canberra, 2014. Yeah.
Any plans to come back again?
Bro, I love to go anywhere where people want me. You understand? But there are some countries I said I'm going to take a break from them a little bit, because you guys are overloaded with too much of performances and show dancing and all that kind of stuff. And when I go somewhere, I like it to be a little bit of a mix. You know what I mean? I'm a social dancer, so when I come up on stage, I want to teach people how to social dance, the technique, and all this kind of stuff. And there are a few cities right now, like Australia, no, not a city, but a country like Australia, Canada, Singapore. I'm taking a break from these countries for a little bit, because I want that show dancing part to finish before I get back again and start teaching people how to look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah,
you guys are way too much into your performances and competition there.
Yeah, it's a shame to hear that. And
no, but it's I have nothing against it. Look, it's 3 different skills. I mean, if people want to perform, I'm absolutely all out for that, because I know in Australia they actually dedicate themselves to performing. Yeah. That's not a bad thing. That's an awesome thing. Also, people are dedicated to being competition dancers. Amazing, awesome thing. But I don't want to go to a party and dance with 5 people.
Yeah.
Because the competition and performance dancers put so much of work and effort into what they're trying to achieve that they forget that there's a part which is outside of there that I belong in. And I don't want to come somewhere where there's not that much of interest, you know?
Yeah. And so I'm interested, what gives you that feeling about, or that impression, or that about the Australian dance scene or the Canadian dance scene?
What's the question?
What gives you that impression about the fact that, you know, the Canadian or Australian dance scene is very performance heavy and not focused on social dancing?
Very easy answer. Canberra. I was at that festival. There was about 600 people in that event.
Yeah.
About 500 of them were performers. Shows are over. Party started. There was 20 people in the party, 400, 500 people outside watching videos and drinking and talking about how good their shows were to each other.
Right.
And the party never got better.
Right.
And I don't know whether it's a shame, or I don't know if I should say it's just the way it is. But this happened the last time I came to the Sydney Salsa Festival too. And, you know, I don't see why people just forget that there's a party after all the shows are over, you know, that everybody comes to and has to dance and do all the things. So for me, that was a turning point. That happened in Toronto as well, and New York as well, Singapore as well.
And I ask because I think it's important for promoters and for the industry to reflect and you know, consider whether, you know, this is something that we want to change, or how artists feel when they come here, or, you know, the structure of the events. Because I think, you know, it's interesting how, you know, people do get a feel, and your feeling is genuine. And so I think it's important to understand.
Just because I feel this way doesn't mean the performers who come there feel that way. For example, Fernando and his team would not feel that way because they are performance-oriented dancers, and they saw a lot of performance-oriented people out there, you know what I mean, in their classes and stuff. So they're happy. Maybe Adolfo sees something else. Maybe Carmen Ricardo sees something else. You know, Terry would be on my side because we see something differently, you know. So it doesn't mean you guys have something bad. It's just your dedication is focused towards 2 specific elements, which is performance and competition. That's not a wrong thing, you know. But what I feel, and I've seen it firsthand here, is people get tired of that. Eventually it takes a toll on them. You know, there's how many rehearsals you have to do, how much money you have to spend on costumes, you know, all that for what, just 3 minutes on stage once a year or twice a year, you know, that takes a toll, and you guys are going to lose people. And those people will never want to go back to social dancing because what they feel is performance is higher than social dancing, and they've achieved this at the highest level, so we don't need to dance anymore. So your numbers are going to suffer over time.
I think a lot of people would you know, agree with that in the industry. Certainly for me, I run a social dancing focused school. You know, we have a tiny portion of our school is performance focused and almost non-existent for competitions. And certainly, you know, that's sometimes, again, I don't want to make this about me, but hey, we're chatting, so I'm just going to.
Yeah, sure.
You know, sometimes
I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, that's really a challenge because, so many people see something else in the scene. And so the real challenge to come back and go, no, you're doing good. Focus on your dancing. Like, you're enjoying yourself. You're developing your skills. That's what's going to give you longevity. I find that it's difficult to instill enough patience and passion so that people are then dancing because they really want to and they love it, without an outcome, without a goal at the end. Like, there is no day where there's a final crescendo.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
And I think sometimes what you're saying, I think, is evident where the retention drops off because people, go through a phase of super performing and super competing, and then they come out and they're like, well, what else is there? Like, I'm good. I'm done. I got my trophy and I've got these skills and that's it. And I think, certainly for me, my goal is, to instill enough passion and interest that people just keep dancing as part of their life, even later on when they're not coming to classes and they're doing other things with their life. But it's part of who they are, and I always reflect back on the martial arts industry and, somehow despite, social media and despite everything, when people are involved in martial arts, they're super passionate about it. And when they're no longer involved as actively as they were, they're still really passionate about it. They still love it. They still connected to it forever.
Frankie Martinez used to say that. Frankie Martinez used to say the same thing, that martial arts is very connected with the dance arts. Yeah. Very much.
Yeah. And so I think,
And I honestly feel that wherever performances, like, thankfully, man, in Europe, we don't have that performance-oriented culture here, and our salsa scene is getting so much stronger now the last 2-3 years, because now what happened before, we used to go on Saturday night, see 10 awesome shows. Now you go on Saturday night, you got 40 shitty ass shows. Maybe the last one's probably going to be great. So what's happening now? People are not turning up to watch shows anymore. So people are just having their pre-parties, sleeping, whatever, and they come out to the party, to the event at night after the shows are over. So eventually the show culture is going to go away. Absolutely going to go away. The numbers of shows are already dropping like ridiculously. Man, some of the shows I see, I can't believe I waste 3 minutes of my life watching that shit. And it's just, I love what, you must have heard of El Sol, the Warsaw Salsa Festival.
Yep.
In Poland.
Yep.
It's one of the biggest. It's huge. 95% oriented towards social dancing. She wants only 8 shows on Saturday night. She doesn't even give a show to Eddie Torres or to somebody like that. She says, I want people to come and enjoy the shows like people who've never seen dancing before to come and enjoy the shows on stage. 8 shows on Saturday night. And she has over 150 artists. So work that out. A lot of people don't get to perform on Saturday night.
Wow.
And she just wants people to dance. I love where she's taking this whole thing.
So if I can again kind of redirect. So your unique skill outside of social dancing is in my understanding, and I haven't been to your class, but I've done my research, is your teaching. You take your teaching seriously. You
very much. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and I think I'd love to hear you kind of talk about the art of teaching. I think considering the culture that we just discussed, there's so much attention on everything else, other than the art of teaching. So even the teachers who are training and performing and competing, but then also teaching is the last thing they spend their time on, developing the art form. I'd love to hear what you kind of think about your own style and what's made that unique and what's made you a recognized teacher. And maybe perhaps you could talk about what, the instructors out there who are looking to, who care about the quality of their instruction and who want to develop, how should they think about that?
I love teaching. I absolutely love it. It's very simple. If you don't have the answer to something, anything that people ask you in class, don't teach. You're not ready for it. Once I went to a party, I went a little bit early, and I saw somebody question the teacher, like, how does he do something? You know what his answer was? His answer was, "This is the advanced class. If you don't know how to do it, you shouldn't be here." I'm sorry, but if I was that student, how do you feel? And those are not the things people say. And in London, I teach all my classes. Not because I don't have people to teach for me. I have a lot of people who can teach for me, but I love teaching beginner classes, and I like to see them develop from there to the next group. I follow them all the way. They follow me all the way. I have no time, but I do it. I could easily take a day off and get my students to teach those classes. I don't do that. I let myself get involved with these people, because 2 years later, when I see somebody who just took their first beginner step with me and then see them going out dancing, and I feel very proud, very, very proud about it. Do you guys know who's Birjan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's my student who couldn't even dance on time when he started. We put a lot of work into him. We developed, and he's where he's. I love when he dances out there now.
He's been in Sydney. He's performed at my event.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. I didn't even know that.
Here,
yeah, so he was my student, and he started for me, and, took him through his processes when he was 15 years old, 16 years old. And, I love those kind of things when people get to a place or get to a stage where, they're enjoying what they're doing. I love that kind of outcome. For people who are wanting to teach and stuff, learn. So what happens is, when I'm in festivals and I got spare time, I will go watch a kizomba class. I will go watch a bachata class. I will go watch a zouk class, a West Coast swing class, hip hop class. I will just go watch people, how they teach, how they communicate movements, how they, get people to understand. Don't be lazy about it. It's also a skill you have to learn. It's a shame that so many people don't do that. They prefer to go out there and do nothing instead of learning how somebody's portraying a movement into somebody's body through words. I love watching these classes. I love watching people teach. People just don't want to learn that stuff. They just think, let's go to YouTube, two hands here, two hands there. They're able to do a few things together. Let's just go there and dumbify that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. And, I give logic to my students. I never tell my students, it's my way or no way. I tell them, look, you guys are going to be learning from a lot of people online, in real life, in festivals, whatever. If it doesn't make sense to you, don't use it. If they give you a logical reason for why you're doing something and you believe in that logic, use it. If you're going to use it, do it properly. So I always tell people, my students are I tell them from the beginning, it's everything that comes out of my mouth is what I'm comfortable doing. Doesn't mean it's the only way or the right way. And if you start getting honest with them about things like that, then they respect you even more. And getting respect is very, very important. You should never make a student feel that they are there because there's nobody else around in that city for them to learn from. And that's a sad thing. They should come to you because they respect the way you do things, the way you're honest with them, and the way you give them logic. Or everything needs to be in a circle, inside that circle. And for me, filming now, no filming is part of that circle too. We just joined that family recently, so yeah.
So, what in your career would you say you're most proud of? What do you feel sort of the best about your career so far? Not that it's at its end.
No. The happiest day of my life was when one Puerto Rican guy bought my DVDs.
Wow.
So I went up to my mother. I said, "Mom, look, some Puerto Rican guy bought some Indian guy's DVDs in the island of Puerto Rico where the dance comes from, And really, it still gives me tears in my eyes when I think of that day, because that was the day I realized, the Latin community has some acceptance from my side. It really feels good. That was the happiest day of my salsa life. Yeah.
And so what would you say to, whether it's other aspiring social dancers who are not driven, by performances as you weren't, and you're a rare breed. There are not many non-performing artists.
Teachers, yeah. I'm the only one, actually.
In fact, I was just thinking as I said it, I can't think of anyone. But maybe it's
no, we had this discussion. All the teachers, we had this discussion not so long ago, about a year ago. We had this discussion. I'm the only one. So now they have it's called the Mario now. So Frankie Martinez is doing the Mario, going to festivals, not performing, just teaching.
Really?
Yeah, Thomas Guerrero from Santo Rico. He's calling like, I'm gonna do the Mario this week. I'm like, what's that? He's like, oh, I'm just gonna teach, not performance. So, it's you know why? I didn't give a damn, because if somebody invited me and said like, you have to perform a show for us to teach that, I'd be like, nah, I'm not interested. People are just scared to take risks, and that's the problem. I take risks all the time. If something works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah. Even the way I started teaching Salsa to do this, and one of my friends in the car said, you know what, just try it for a few months. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, come back to working as an accountant. And that's how I started teaching. This videoing, it's a risk I took, because a lot of people will be scared to do that now because they think they will lose people in their studios or classes. I didn't care. Taking risks are important. It doesn't hurt anybody. You don't lose much. It's just you're thinking about the long term,
And do you think, and I love hearing you say that, like, from, I'm an accountant too, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
When I left,
your questions are exactly the kind of things I say to my people all the time. And that's good. That's good.
I left that life to do this. Personally, I don't perform. I would be the only, school owner in Sydney who doesn't have a performance and competition career, who only has a teaching and social dancing based career. So, for me, and I'm sure there are others, around the world who are obviously not as loud and not as vocal because they're not, as Instagram friendly, it would be fascinating to hear this, this experience of yours. And so do you think it's still possible? Do you think if you started today, do you think someone who is a social dancing artist and a teaching artist can still make it in the industry?
Absolutely. Anybody and everybody can, but you got to find your own road. You got to find your own path. You can't come out there dancing like Adolfo because we already have one of those. You can't come out there wanting to be Terry. We have one of those. You can't come out there wanting to be Supermario. We already have one of those. You've got to find your own way. And I had this conversation with Bercy not so long ago. I know Bercy now for 15 years, and that girl worked her ass off. Yeah. Bercy Cortez. Yeah. She has been working her ass off since I've known her. Since she was 17 years old, I've known her. And, I've always told her the same thing. She's always been trying really hard to make it out there. And I said, Bercy, you know what? You need to find your own way. You need to find your own path. You're a beautiful dancer. You're a beautiful lady. It's so easily recognized out there, I'm talking about 10 years ago, and it's taken her a long time to be where she is. And she's here right now, she worked. But a lot of people don't have that kind of patience anymore.
So who are your favorite, female dancers at the moment that you kind of really, respect and really love what they do?
I like I said, I've been here for a long time, so I've known everybody since they were almost teenagers, and I love Bercy for what she's become. Carol Flores for how she decided to leave Yamule and do her own thing. Again, a risk. She's a strong person, can do that kind of stuff. She's doing it happily. I love Griselle Ponce because she was the original, mambo dancer who had to, motivate and keep the woman thing alive. I love her for that as well. There's so many of them, I really love them. I have one girl right now in London. She's one of my instructors. And I'm saying the same thing to her as well. I said, don't try to be Tanya. Don't try to be Bercy. Don't try to be blah, blah, blah. Don't try to be this. You need to find your own unique way. And she's right now, every day, she's like, Mario, what do you think about this? Mario, what do you think? I'm like, Sasha, you're going to find this out by yourself. You are good. I will be there. I've got her back. She's not going anywhere right now. As long as she listens to me, I'll get her places. But I'm not going to influence her career. But I want her to find her way. And she's only 22 years old, but she needs to find her way. My wife teaches with me also in London. And she didn't know teaching could be so much fun. And it was not something she wanted to do. It's one of my instructors never turned up because it was a metro strike. So I got her to teach a class. She really enjoyed it. And now she's preparing lessons before classes and stuff. And she's enjoying what she's doing right now. She's enjoying this learning experience to portray to people out there like what she's learning. And again, I got her back. If she wants, she wants to learn how to do things, I'm there for her. But she's doing an amazing job. And I'm just keeping quiet right now because that class that she's teaching is multiplying by itself. Wow. We don't promote, by the way. We don't have promotions here. I don't have a flyer. I don't have nothing. My website is like 100 years old. Instagram, I just post a video occasionally so people don't bite my moves. I just post that stuff out there. So I'm not very good at it. And she knows that as well. In her class right now, we had like 8 or 9 people. And yesterday we had like 40 or something. And it's not because of me. It's her class. I'm not even doing anything there. So people are loving her for what she's doing. And I think she's found something that she's not sure what it is, but I know there's something good there. And I like when people have to find their own things, and not take it easy and get somebody to help them and stuff like that. I really don't like when people are helped too much.
How has your life changed since you've got married?
I married her. I never thought I was ever going to get married. I married her because I know she accepts me for who I am and what I do. And a ring doesn't change anything. I love her. She loves me. And we're in a good place. Amazing. And nothing different to pre-marriage to after marriage. Nothing different at all. We just understand each other. She lets me do my work. I go to parties without my phone in my pocket. Have a great night, come back, good night, I'm going to sleep. That's it, we're done.
And so what advice do you have to the upcoming artists? Because I feel like, you've stayed very, level-headed throughout your career. You haven't fallen into the
it's very important
celebrity trap of the salsa industry. And it's there, How have you done that? And what would you say to up-and-coming artists who are trying to navigate the relationships, the behaviors, the industry, the professional, the personal, and mix it all together?
If somebody gives you advice and somebody who's giving advice is coming from a good place, accept that advice, because I would have been a complete dickhead if not for Susana Montero. She's the woman who kept me and Leon Rose in check. We were checked because of her. She told us, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. If you do this, you're going to last longer. We both listened to her and took the long version. And we believe that advice that she gave us was very, very important at the time that she gave it to us. I'm sure you do know who's Edie the Salsa Freak.
Yes.
Yeah, she also gave me some good advice about being level-headed, not being, carried away with all this attention that people are going to give you and, that stuff. And again, 2 women who I really, really respect very much told me the same thing. So I guess they were both right. And, at the end of the day, I always say to myself, it's only a dance.
Yeah.
It is only a dance. You can love it or hate it. At the end of the day, it's just a dance. So anybody out there who's trying to make it out there, please don't try too hard, because when you try too hard to be noticed, people don't want to notice you. Just do your thing, show passion, show what you're doing and why you're doing it. You'll be easily attracted. Even the simplest of dance, if you're dancing with a lady who's 150 years old, but you got a smile on your face while you're doing it with her, people, the lady's 150 years old, or you're doing a charity dance with her, or whatever it is that you're thinking that you're doing, or no video is going to make you popular or whatever. I always say to people, I say, these 1 million hits that you guys get on Instagram is like monopoly money. It's not real. Today you're a 1 million wonder. Next week, you're not going to get that million again. Don't put that kind of pressure on yourself, and just enjoy what you're doing. That's what people want to see, the connection and the enjoyment between 2 people.
And I hate this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you have a preference? Are you on one? Are you on 2?
I don't really care. It doesn't really bother me. I teach my students both. I tell them, I don't want you guys to go there and be lost with this stupid thing that everybody's doing out there. But, enjoy both of them equally. All my advanced students can dance both easily. And they don't really care. Really, I'm telling you this, they don't really care. So I don't care. They have the same opinion. They don't care.
It's fantastic. I'd love to hear that.
You can't control that. You can't control the liking or not liking of it. It just doesn't bother me at all. Really doesn't bother me at all.
I think I'm really big on not doing this. I always tell people, don't do it.
I say it, but occasionally I do it too. But now I've started a new system now. I just hold the girl, I just stand in front of her and I see what she's shaking into.
Yeah. That's what I do. You just kind of start and you see where she is. If she's starting on...
I started doing that now because I'm tired of this. I was doing this 1 and 2 thing, blah, blah, blah. And 95% of people I danced with couldn't dance on 2, even though they chose to dance on 2. It was like a trial for them, and I hate dancing out of time. That's probably the one thing I really can't stand, dancing out of time, So I just hold her, wait for her to shake into some rhythm, and then I use that rhythm to go into the dance,
And so, speaking of timing, if you were to give, 3 things that a male, dancer or a lead should focus on or should really prioritize in their dancing, what would it be? And same for a female or for a follower.
Oh, it's probably not going to be in any order, but keep learning, always keep learning, keep training your body to take classes. It doesn't matter what. All great dancers out there right now. You will see Tanya taking Wilmer Maria's class. You will see Bercy taking Adolfo's class. You will see Adolfo taking Jesus Aponte's class. We are always constantly taking class. I'm always in Yamule's class because I love their shines. My shines is my weakness. So whenever there's Yamule class, you'll find me and my wife in that class all the time. Don't think just because you can do X amount of this or X amount of that you reached your point. It's not about that. You got to train your brain all the time. Take classes, even if you have to go back down to a class just to watch how people are teaching stuff. Sometimes you pick up stuff not by just doing things. You can also pick up stuff by listening to things. So for me, always keep your body trained and listening to taking in information, whether it comes from a class you're taking or movement or whatever. But take lessons. Secondly, practice. I can't say enough. Social dancing I call it practice, but it's a dance. But you've got to be out there at least 2 or 3 times a week doing your thing, because that's how whatever training you're putting into your system is being put into your mind and your soul. Enjoy whatever you guys are doing in terms of dancing. Third thing, it's a social world out there. If somebody cannot dance, Susana Montero told me once. She said, it's only 3 or 4 minutes of your life, that you're spending with somebody, but it's a very, very long memory for them and for a long time. They will never forget you. So, be nice to people. There's no need to be an ass about it. Okay, they cannot dance, so what? It's like I said, 3 minutes of your life is nothing, but they'll remember you when they get better. Trust me on that one. And this is not just male or female. It's for everybody. It's not just for guys to do this or for girls to do this. I think everybody needs to do this. Another thing I really like to say to people is, women, question your teachers. Always that. If you don't do everything just because somebody in front of you is doing it. Question them. Ask them why they're doing what they're doing, not how they're doing what they're doing. There's a time and place for everything. You can't just think just because somebody's teaching you something that you're able to do this anywhere and anytime you want. It doesn't work like that. The question should be like, when do we use this? How do we use this? Why do we use it? Which part of the music do we use it? Or if there's a romantica song playing, please don't do pachanga, because it just tells me that you were educated like a fool. Nobody taught you when to use a pachanga step, which music to use it to, because that's what the world is doing right now. Everybody's just following the donkey, So I always encourage people to question. If you ever came to London to teach and my students were in your class, bro, you be ready. They will ask a question just because they have to ask you something.
Love it. And so from and we'll just finish up. I know I'm conscious of your time.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
From a non-Spanish speaker, how do you talk about connecting to a music for non-Spanish speakers, and having the passion and love and feeling that you have even though you don't speak the language and don't understand the lyrics. What's your advice to people who are sort of struggling with that?
I'm dancing to the music. I don't care what the hell he's talking about. Half the time, believe it or not, the songs that we all dance to are talking so much rubbish you don't even want to know what they're talking about. There's a very famous song called Mala Mujer. Matala, 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 matala. You know that song?
I think so, yeah.
Everybody knows that song, trust me.
Yeah.
You know what that song is about? Kill her, kill her, kill her. The woman has a bad heart.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
I mean, why do I need to know what the guy's talking about? The music is just amazing. I'm dancing to the music, you know. Then there's another song where the guy's just talking about the woman's lips the whole song. Why do I need to know the word? What am I going to do if I know the words, you know? But to educate yourself as a person, maybe if you want to learn Spanish, not for the dance, but if you want to educate yourself just on the side or for something, for other reasons in the future, you know, maybe you want to travel to Europe or go to Spain or South America. That's a different reason, but you don't need to learn the language just to dance salsa. You know, you're dancing to the music, not to the lyrics.
Yeah.
Somebody just released a video recently, I think. I'm not going to name who, but I think he said something like, if you understand the lyrics, you will dance better, which I thought was a complete crock of shit anyway. Sorry, edit that part. But when I heard that, I just thought it was rubbish. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're dancing to the music, not to the vocal, the lyrics, you know.
Yeah, look, I think it's important to, you know, I raise this because I think a lot of people sometimes will hear a comment like that, whether it's from someone famous or even from, you know, a Latino, and kind of like, you can't feel what I feel because you don't understand it. And there's obviously some truth to that, but I think, you know, it's a lot of people might be struggling with figuring out how to connect to a music that's foreign to their culture. And so, you know, I always talk about the fact that, you know, we all have a culture. We all have music from our culture. And if you were to give your music to a Latino to listen to, they'd be like, I feel nothing about this music, you know. And so there's always this pressure to like feel something. And you know, I always talk about the fact that that's going to take time. You want to allow yourself to develop and grow into the music and listen to it because you start to enjoy it and go down a path that you enjoy and you know, give it its due process. There's no reason why we should all be just in love with the music until we.
I would say this a different way though. I would say, like, why learn the language to learn the lyrics? Learn an instrument instead. If you really want to connect to the dance or the music, learn an instrument instead. It's not going to help anything for you, you know.
And so maybe just to finish up, then, what? How do people, you know, find you if they want to follow what you do or if they want to learn from you? How do we do that?
Very easy. Everything is Supermario Salsa. One word. You can find me anywhere you want, and it's very easy these days. You cannot have a tough time. If you guys are ever in Europe, please come to our festivals because our social dancing scene is very, very good here in Europe. We have a very good social dancing scene. London also, we have very good parties here. On Facebook, anytime you guys want to come out here, Supermario Salsa is my name. Just tag me along or put in a request or whatever, and I'll send you in the right direction. So I hate promoting myself, man.
I'll do that for you. So we'll leave some links and things that will be
Thank you.
attached to this. Look,
sure.
Any final words or thoughts that you want to put out into the world? Here's your chance.
I really enjoyed it. I love. Sometimes I love just talking to people. I love this kind of communication that we're having right now. I mean, people are going to listen to it or whatever, and you know, if you guys have any doubts, if you have any questions, please ask me, write me, call me, whatever. I'm always open. If it's educational, you know, I'm always ready to talk to anybody about it. I don't mean to offend anybody with the things I said. It's just I have been a social dancer. I'm always going to support the social dancing scene. I'm the ambassador of social dancing. I am everything about the dance floor, you know. Always after the shows, I'm the first one who starts dancing. I'm almost the last one who leaves the party. So, you know, I love what I do. And, you know, I've been doing it for 20 years and loving it. I don't see why you guys would be dancing for like 1 or 2 years already have problems, you know. So enjoy it, and you know, take classes. Very important.
Thank you, Supermario. So look,
my pleasure, sir.
I want to thank you for your time. I think for me and hopefully for everybody listening, it's been just such an interesting.
Thank you for having me. I've never done this before with Skype, so hopefully it works out for you on the other side.
I'm glad I was able to take you forward in your technology use.
One more thing. When I said a few things about Australia, don't take that in a bad way. Okay? I just said it, that you guys are very passionate and dedicated towards a certain way of dancing, which is performance dancing. That also requires skill, effort, work, whatever. So don't start some controversy about it. It's just you guys have a certain way of doing things, and it's great that you guys do it that way, focusing on competition and performance dancing. I was referring to the fact that I come from a social dancing scene where if I went to a party, I want to see 1,000 people dancing, social dancing, rather than 800 people standing outside and talking about a performance, you know. So don't start any controversy about this. And if it does, please connect me and I will give out my opinion about what I thought, okay?
Yeah, look, I think your opinion is respected and you've well earned it. And I think, you know, the awareness of particularly the people who are, you know, influencers, you know, around this is important. And certainly, you know, from my perspective, if there's a visit of yours that's on the cards, that means that we've done something right, and we've.
I will definitely be back. It's not that I don't want to go. It's just, you know, I think right now, every time, like for example, Singapore also is in the same situation right now. They're just so performance oriented at the moment, and it's only right that the teachers that they bring there or the artists that they invite there are related to what the people are doing currently. You know what I mean? Yes, I'm not saying there's no social dancers in Australia or Singapore. It's just that the majority of the people want to see Karen and Ricardo or how they compete, or Fernando Sosa and Tropical Gem, how they perform. You know, they want these kind of artists because they want to be inspired by them right now. My time was there. I was in Australia since 2005, 2006. Jamie Jesus brought me almost every year to his festival, and social dancing was at its prime. And then people just shifted. That shift happened in Canada, in New York. It happened in Europe. It's happening everywhere. And that shift changes also. So in Europe, we've left the performance and all that stuff out now. Maybe it will change there. So when that changes, I'll be back. Trust me. So it's not that I didn't say I was going to come back. I will come back, but when your focus changes.
Yeah, and I actually personally think we're on the right track. I haven't been around as long as you have, but you know, certainly there's a lot of social salsa nights, you know, in Sydney that have started over the last 2 to 3 years significantly more.
I had one of my students who just moved there actually, and he told me that his first words were like, everybody's asking him when he came out dancing, like, who do you perform for? Who do you perform for? It's the only question he got asked like all the time. His first message to me when he moved to Sydney was exactly that, and I was just cracking up. So no, nothing's changed yet. It's just
here I was attempting to defend our social scene. And,
that's okay, man. No, you got to do what you got to do. But you know, I had this conversation. Bercy was in London on Monday night, so we had dinner together with her husband, and she's doing the same thing for Malaga in Spain, which was very performance orientated. So she and her friend now started teaching locally, and they're trying to bring back the social, you know, salsa scene. And, you know, we're doing our bits. You're doing your part over there. And just doing. And it's not that I'm saying it's gone out completely, but it wasn't the way it was. That's what I'm saying. So, you know, I keep working. I mean, you know, I'm sure your students are having a good time of their life when they go out dancing. So I'll be back. Actually, as a matter of fact, Jamie and Graham, they're doing something, right, in October?
They are, yep. We have
yeah.
It's the sort of the new version of the festival that you came 2 years ago.
Yes, he's actually invited me, but I'm busy on those days and I cannot come. So
it's a shame.
Yeah. So we said maybe for the following year we will be looking into it. Is it starting this year or next year?
Yeah, this October it starts, and then it will.
Okay, so he asked me for this year, and I'm busy, so maybe for the next year I might come out there. Yeah. So social dancer, start working out, man. I'm coming.
As soon as we get off the phone, I'm going to call him right now and tell him that he's going to start getting it together. Next year.
Sure, do it. Why not?
Thank you so much, Super Mario. We,
thanks, Felix, man. Thank
really
you.
enjoyed hearing from you and hearing your opinions, and hopefully we can continue to spread, the message and the years and the wisdom and the passion and the love for the social dance floor, around everyone around the world who's going to watch this.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me, Felix.
Thank you, man.
Good luck with everything you guys are doing too, okay?
Absolutely. I really appreciate it.
See you guys soon.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you for joining me in this conversation, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, head on over to iTunes and leave me a 5-star rating. It really helps other people discover these conversations, and is a small recognition of my work, which I really appreciate. And finally, I would love to connect with you. Please send me a message on Instagram, Felix Ben LJ, FELIXBENLJ, one word, or on Facebook, Felix Ben, or salsa@latinjunction.com.au. You can find all the show notes on our website, latinjunction.com.au/podcast. Until next time, we'll talk.